of advantage from getting that third ring scan, because there's just not much space left. Most teams have already pulled into z-o. The weirder the pull, the more it advantages that second ring scan. The more predictable the pull, the more it will advantage the teams who have rotated early and already picked up those central positions.
Trying to be out of most of that congestion spot too, right? In this building that you currently see Dragons in, they see that team that's right alongside them, the team trying to actually push their advantage, closing in that gap. But NRG is also looking at the action happening right here. You could see the bullet spread over from the right side. That's where they're going to be shooting from uphill, trying to get out of their line of sight. This squad knowing, all right, this is not worth the fight. Taking source X and Y are neighboring that of Dragons. So giving that space here while we see another fight. LG here over to that north side with X and Y right alongside them.
Okay, LG want to pull up and grab these other couple of kills onto VKG, but sweet!
Yeah, it was a trade-off too. Both knocks on both ends, and VK Gaming are able to get that res. They did lose out on the Rampart here, but the reset for the Gibbies even better, even with the Trident to give them cover.
I mean, LD has just pulled about 3 or 4 reses off in just as many seconds, and it's been extremely hard. Sure, they got the Trident here. We were talking about how useful they can be in a couple of these situations, especially if you get stuck in the water and have to play next to those runways coming out of z-o-o Station. But for now, it looks like VKG are going to use this bubble timing to hopefully get out if they can squeeze past the loot bins. They need to go far away from the ring and be able to get the reset here.
Listen, if you're going to lose out on one of your teammates, at least it's the Rampart here. At least you got the Newcastle and Gibby, so you could use the dome, so that way you could just zoot out of there. And if you get knocked, you have the Newcastle right there to also try to go for a reset if nobody tries to fully extend on you.
Reignite are flying in here. Reignite not playing the Valkyrie, so they don't get that the scan ability to just zoom past and say, okay, there's a team here, 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 and here. That's the spot we want to play. They just have to use their intuition, their game sense, and they do find somewhere with this Gibby bubble to start getting the Rampart wall set up.
There are so many other teams here, but at least in this position, out of the line of sight of NRG, who are holding up on top of that hill that we had mentioned before, but still in the line of sight of the teams that have secured a spot over by z-o-o. Meteor, Stallion, still those individual buildings that you can see those shots coming out of, and Envy now moving forward, coming in from the other side of that mountain to try to approach.
So we were talking about the squads who weren't getting that much value out of the second ring console, and Envy were one of them. They've had to take up that spot. We've already seen one team, VK Gaming, not be very successful from there, right? They were struggling. They've had to go out and reset. Can Envy do any better? I'm not so sure.
Envy had come from where that mobile respawn is, south of Cascade too, just looking at the teams that may have approached from their line of sight. And they're not the only ones coming from that north side, right? z-o-o Tenacity, as well as Shadow, also are going to start moving away from Cascade. Love the overview here with the zone, so that way you could see the congestion spot over to that north side, that Mythic being right next to Meteor, but the teams that may have to forcibly go through that Jurassic zone.
Oh, okay, Supernova going for the in the zone. Third ring, fourth ring, during the third ring, fourth ring scan. I never know where should we talk about the ring it's in? Should we talk about the ring they're scanning? Either way, you hopefully understand what I'm saying there. It does pull further down towards Jurassic. Okay, so now this is a little bit of what we were talking about. This one will actually benefit Supernova, because if you go and maybe find evacs, balloons, whatever you can, maybe a bubble trident to get all the way down to, say, where Team Burger is on the south side, that's where there's a lot of space in this zone right now. Over in Jurassic, we're going to see that tunnel above where FaZe Clan are that joins the middle of the map to Jurassic be very important in this next 2 minutes.
Especially if you were FaZe who were able to get that ring console, who were able to take their time rotating from the south side. Not the same can be said about Shadow, who now rotating with the bubble on top of the Trident, where everybody is hanging out over by z-o-o. Dreamfire's in the building to their south. Like we mentioned, they have gone right back to their designated POI after taking one from z-o-o Tenacity. Stallions also on that southern building over by z-o-o. And they were able to get that reset earlier on too. They're gonna hang out on the high ground here, and so is VKG, but this time sharing that spider cave right underneath until eventually they'll have to move into that next zone. But the decision making on how to approach that next zone is gonna be difficult when you're forced to go out into the open of the water, where every team is gonna have you in their line of sight. GHS, full purples, one of the teams approaching from the Jurassic side, where Energies are looking at them, but one Tappy completely annihilates Nocturnal.
Yes, this is GHS Professional. Those teams who rotated in from the south have benefited very well from this ring pull. And FaZe Clan, they're actually looking down towards them right now. Potentially there could be kills coming through that tunnel I was mentioning, but they are more worried about what's in front of them.
FaZe had helped them get that knock onto Nocturnal too. So GHS now having that standoff versus FaZe, while NRG are forced to play this out as a duo on the other side of the fence. Seeing if they keep alive on that corner, they were able to get that reset, maybe get a Moby going to get Nocturnal back in this fight, while GHS is fixated on FaZe.
Still holding on to that 30-30 apparently. It's so strange hearing that through my ears, Vicky. I mean, it's a sound we just haven't heard in quite a while. We're used to the ringing of the Scout and the Nemesis at the moment. Nice bubble from Marufa here to get one Tappy back up, and FaZe, are they going to get in here quick enough?
By the way, they were able to get the banner from Nocturnal. You could hear the vibrations as they called in the Moby, so Energy is about to be a full trio soon. While this fight is continuing between FaZe and GHS, FaZe closed in the gap. They're going to be able to utilize the Sheila here, while the fight is also happening over by z-o-o side.
Yeah, well, all of these teams in z-o-o have just realized that they are not in the right spot. They're all going to have to flood out at the same time, and they're going to be gatekept by teams like Dragons, Oblivion, Source X and Y that are holding that southern outcropping, those small buildings that are over the other side of the river to z-o-o Station. Of course, you know, if we're talking about Godspot, that's more like FaZe, GHS Professionals, and NRG that we were talking about previously. And as you said, NRG are back up to 3.
Saw Envy also zooting away on a Trident, wondering where they could find themselves in the middle of all the chaos. Behind the rampart walls, right next to Orgless and Hungry, Team Burger too. Look at VKG in the corner by the stairwell between the Trident and the Newcastle
wall. And these are exactly the positions. The one Oblivion is what I was thinking of when I said Tridents are good for z-o-o Station, right? Blocking in that particular
Okay,
spot.
what?
So
no
good.
way!
Oh, not the bottom. Not the
He died for that! He actually died for that! He died for that! There is no way! VKG just got reefed. The Trident sent up to the heavens! And he jumped off while everyone just shot at him with the Sheila. That is so unfortunate.
It is. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what causes it, but I do think the players generally know it. So I think it is something you can avoid if you've seen it before. Either way, yeah, it is quite unfortunate for VKG there that they go skyward, and well, that's probably their chances for the game taking a big hit.
Let's see if they're able to reset. The Death Box is right there, so they can maybe get the Moby here, but Stallions are also in some trouble. NRG have the high ground advantage, so Sheila. Again, music to my ears. Maybe not the orchestra I want to be part of, but they have the advantage. They clean up Stallions. 16, now 15 squads left with Meteor, finding themselves back in the lobby. BK Gaming, they were able to get the banner. You know, now with the banner, you could try to get that Moby right there, but they have to move forward first with the ring closing in behind them.
Doesn't even have any shields, though. He's just had to be dropped a shield battery as they're closing into the ring. I mean, complete shambles for VKG.
And they lock him inside the building for now, just trying to buy some space and time as Envy on their last legs, only Yanya alive.
A very hard rotate for Envy, just trying to get a res-off sandwich between two amp covers, but someone is jumping right on their head. F-Chan similarly not in a great spot, and Team Burger are looking to pick up a few of these kills. They had that southern position, and they've been able to pick and choose their timings and take advantage of all the chaos from the teams that had to flood out of z-o-o Station.
Yanya was able to get the res, by the way. LG get eliminated. Source X and Y now move up instead, being able to play off the Newcastle wall and the Rock as more teams have found these corners in that next zone, but a majority of these squads are going to collapse from this north side after exiting out of z-o.
There's space on either side of the wall, so Jurassic's okay, the z-o side also okay. At some point, the doors are going to open and the teams are going to go at each other like it's an arena match here, Vicky. But until then, there's still quite a few teams up the north on that z-o side that have to find their way down.
Don't get me excited, Gino. We said arenas out here. We have to see now as the double bubble from double tridents. One on the north side from Oblivion, one on the south side. Source X and Y looking down on the teams that are going to have to go in from the low ground. Team Burger, one of them. Source X and Y on the Trident have now moved up into that next zone. Look at everyone shooting at them, though. Where can they find a spot?
Oh, okay, they've got a rock here. It's not in zone. They will have to go a little bit further in, but it does allow them to maybe clear their backs as they walk into the zone soon.
There's the Gibby ult called in. The stare down between NRG on one side of the fence, Oblivion on the other. Zero Tenacity is also neighboring them. Orgless and Hungry get eliminated, but they don't have to worry too much for that team. 9 squads left, though. Source X and Y now are trying to plan out where to go next, on which squad to engage in first.
Yeah, looks like we've got NRG up in the corner, making it very, very hard for them. Team Burger got into a stoush and lost most of their players in that. Meanwhile, Envy, we saw they weren't in an enviable position, but they actually managed to grab the reset and turn this all around.
But they're getting pressured out, though. Team Burger right behind them as just a solo, just a Gibby alive. Envy want to get some easy KP without giving up their spot. The Source X and Y are also staring them down.
I like how patiently Source are playing this. We saw it was a very hard spot for them to take out NRG. Maybe if they can wait for that wall to become de-electrified, they can get in there. Envy, despite making it this far, I don't think you're going to get any further.
But the solo of Team Burger is looking at Envy, and Source X and Y collapse on them. This allows Team Burger to survive and get some more placement points over Envy, while Source X and Y get the loot that they need. And NRG was the team that were pressuring them originally before Source X and Y were able to move up.
Yeah, it looks like it's just Pricey playing his life. He's managed to pick up 3 kills. Sharky complimenting him with another 3. And that's a very handy 8 points, 9 points now that Team Burger have got so far in this game.
And they need it too. They're sitting in 11th place. Yeah. They're in that bookmark with 23 total points.
I don't think Source X and Y know he's there, by the way.
No, they don't.
They're looking around, they're looking at Zero Tenacity, looking at NRG. There's so many threats on either side that they haven't realized that Sharky's around. I think that was his bubble just coming out there. NRG goes down.
That means more placement points for Team Burger, though. 6 squads left. They're trying to take shots at him. He finally gets taken down as their Tenacity. Also, we're able to shoot at him. Oblivion, we're able to get that KP.
Tap strafes can only do so much. Okay, final zone. Now closing, and the teams will collapse from either side of this wall. Gibby ult's coming out. Zero Tenacity, a very early bubble for them. Nades thrown in by JMW. But they will have time to pop some cells.
And you saw Oblivion, they didn't really have to waste out on their bubble, right? They were hiding out behind the Newcastle wall as Tenacity had used up their Source X and Y now use their Gibby bubble. You saw the Gibby bubble earlier on from the team on the other side of the fence. Fades are able to get 2 knots, 5 squads left. Source X and Y don't want to overextend with their Tenacity now coming in from their back. Oh, gets the cleanup here. Zero Tenacity get eliminated. Source X and Y now trying to get the KP as they were sitting in 15.
Oh my god, this has been a masterclass from Source X and Y. GHS Professional, they move to the other side of the fence. Is it the right decision? Seems like it. The hipfire works, but FaZe just walks straight into this.
The crowd goes wild, but with FaZe being a full 3, man, they get the next game. They clean up game number 5 as the winners. Listen to that crowd. Listen to the energy here in the arena. FaZe do get the win, but some crucial KP needed right there between GHS and Source X and Y.
It feels like there's been some mental resets for a lot of the teams that were struggling throughout the group stage. I mean, FaZe, obviously, not having the best time throughout day 1 and day 2. GHS Professional now moving up to 2nd spot. Supernova currently in the top 10, and then there's a couple. As we have a look at the match results here, you know, 15 and 16, extremely necessary points for those two teams, and Source picking up 13 as well.
And that has allowed Source to sit in that 11th place spot, right? We're talking about Team Burger, but it's so tight. Looking at that bookmark that you really need, 25 total points right now for Source X and Y after that performance, right behind Ninjas, who are on 10th place currently. But great dub for FaZe to move themselves up with 3 KP after taking that dub.
Smattering of 5s across the board, and as we look at this, it was FaZe who just, apparently just waltzed it in. I mean, there was so much fighting happening around that, around that fence that I really thought it might be like a GHS Professional or an NRG who'd come out with it, but no, FaZe somehow just lurking and managed to sneak that win out. As we look at the series results here, we can see ALGS in Hungary very far ahead. Pressure off them completely now, looking to play the POI draft. GHS Professional most likely have moved up past the threshold required to qualify for the elimination bracket too. Everyone else, I'd say it's still in play for them. But those teams sneaking up and around 38 points. At that point, you can start to feel comfortable that you only need to eke out a few more. But yeah, down the bottom there, we're looking at Stallions, who was so close to qualifying after some good starts to the tournament. And then all of a sudden, it's been a big drop-off for Al and his friends.
It's been difficult, but it's great, and you gotta get those. You have to get those nerves out of the way, right? When you see such a large crowd, so many fans here in the arena, and there's so much to do when you get to visit a LAN as big as this. I want to hear from Lace because I heard she's actually taking a vacation at the Mirage Voyage.
It's Lace here, and we're back at the event for the ALGS. It's day number 3. We're actually incredibly high above the broadcast. We're about to go even higher. Let's take an evac tower to the Mirage Voyage. Let's go take a look. Well, we finally made it to the top. We're here in the Mirage Voyage with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mirage. Make sure you shoot out your decoys because bamboozle for the foozle. There's plenty of photo opportunities here for you to enjoy. So stretch your legs, take the escalator all the way up to the top of the arena, and make sure you check out the beautiful view of Sapporo City.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh, there's so much to do here. Honestly, I just learned today that we have that observation deck with the Mirage clones all over the place. Wow, that's actually crazy. I have to check that out myself, Gino. Well, not only that though, to see Battle Beaver, guys, I have one of these controllers, the official controller partner of the Apex Legends Global Series. If you guys want a sick controller like this, make sure to use the code ALGS on their site on battlebeaver.gg/ALGS for 20% off during the weekend. Go to directly battlebeaver.gg/ALGS and automatically apply that 20% off ALGS code. Yeah, and it's honestly really helped me out. It feels very light in the hands, and you feel like you really elevate your own gameplay when you're playing ranked. And if you guys are also tuning in, don't forget we have Twitch drops. Watch for just 30 minutes a day of the event to claim your own cosmetics. I always forget to tune in myself sometimes because we're so fixated on the event that I always have to have something open in the background where we're up here to make sure I do not miss out on claiming my own Twitch drops.
Yeah, look, I had to check that FaZe weren't rocking the ALGS Horizon skin themselves at the end of that game because the way they came over the fence and just dropped down for the win and grab the dub inside the bubble there. I genuinely thought they might have had the Horizon pickup. I think it was, of course, the evac tower that helped them pop over the top and grab that win. But yeah, we will, of course, be heading over to World Edge next for the last 3 games of this series. And as we were alluding to before, a couple of teams have prioritized this one, but not that many.
We do, but before we jump into World's Edge, let's jump into a listening with FaZe during their game-winning moment.
Yeah, sorry, complex kills. No.
Kill one, chill.
I'm Phoenixing.
I need
You
shotgun
need
ammo.
pop both the evacs. We can pop it now. Pop it now. Both the evacs. Make sure you pop it so in the middle, one of them.
Yeah, so pop one. Top 3.
Last is fighting.
I'm
We need to go.
Yeah. Focus, fire, together.
Go. I'm probably far left.
Yeah, fighters.
Last guy.
Last guy. Nice, good shit.
Holy fuck.
Nice, good shit, boy.
Well, there you go. You can hear pop both evacs. So that was how they got over the top. It was obviously, you know, they were a little bit worried that maybe there's too many shielders on the other side, and because the circle does end on the side opposite to them, they don't want to be left there taking zone damage. So, yeah, they get both up. Of course, you know, there's only one person left by the time they get there, and it's an easy cleanup. But hey, better to be safe than sorry.
I always love listening to the transition of like chaoticness and hectic like voice tones coming into these listen-ins, and how it transitioned from I have no shotgun ammo to all right, let's get this gaming winning moment, and it just gets very calm, and you can see the sigh of relief from these players in their chairs once they are able to get that dub, because currently, again, FaZe is sitting in 7th place with 32 total points, and as you alluded to, Genome, we got 3 more games to go as we make that transition into World's Edge.
Yeah, so we think the cutoff's going to be around 40-41 points, but then again, we were actually pretty wrong yesterday, Vicky. And it was the highest points total ever required to make it into the winners bracket. There's been a bit of discussion about why that might be, whether it was the support meta and the fact that it's easier to get reses, and of course that increases the number of kill points and therefore total available points in each lobby, or was it because we had a few underperforming teams and therefore the higher teams were able to score more overall? Either way, we'll see if the same plays out here in the elimination bracket, but we now move on to World's Edge. Having a look at the POI draft for this one, Vicky, we'll get to see those couple of teams who did, in my opinion, make the correct decision to try and prioritize World's Edge here. And we've got Team Burger picking up Skyhook at pick number 9. That's a steal. That is a bargain. That is like an op shop, you know, just absolutely wonderful option if I've ever seen it. Most other times it's going pick 1, pick 2, pick 3. That's awesome for Burger. Hopefully that means they can close out the series on that. Zero Tenacity getting Siphon at 9, Reignite going for Monument, as well as getting an open Fragment at 8 is also great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, basically the 3 priorities, right, from the squads within this lobby trying to get those POIs. Meanwhile, the other squads seeing where they could find themselves on World's Edge, and currently where it stands with Ninjas being in that cutoff spot sitting in 10th, you wonder how that's gonna work.
The other fascinating pick there actually is Supernova going for Dome at 60, staging left open. That's the first time we've seen that happen this tournament. Usually it's Dome and Fragment that are left open, perhaps somewhere else, but staging, no, we've not seen that for, you know, a POI that was once seen as, was once fought over.
You know why though? Because Supernova is running the Valkyrie. They do have the ability to utilize that skyward dive to try to cross that distance. They have a ring console actually going into this game. The crowd is going wild. Game number 6 on World's Edge. Again, only 3 games to go before we say goodbye to our first set of 10 teams in the event.
Yeah, it's important to bring that up, isn't it? I mean, day 1 and day 2, you do have that chance, that second chance, but time's up. It's now or never if you want to be making it onto day 4 and day 5 of the ALGS Year 4 Championship.
Get goosebumps just thinking about it. That was really fun. I mean,
it's cold in here.
Yeah, that too, but it's just crazy to see how this past year has evolved. We've had a different winner for every land thus far. Really changing things up, makes things exciting now as we first look at FaZe, looting up Big Mon, Oblivion over to their south side by Stacks, and this next zone, wait until you guys see it. We take a quick little pause here as it stands right now. Again, Ninjas in that border cutoff, 28 points. Source X and Y right behind them with 25 points. But it really shows you how close that cusp is between that clutter of teams.
Now we've got, I can't remember if we showed this to you already on the main stream there, but we do have a zone going over towards Lava Siphon, so we can have a quick gander at that and have a little talk over it. Zero Tenacity, of course, are landing there. This means, you know, as you mentioned, Supernova with a Valk ult could get there almost immediately, but Valk ult does take a little while to charge up. You know, it's no Loba black market, right? You can't just plop down, grab some guns, and then just zoom over wherever you want.
Sadly,
of course, they do
biased.
have. They do have the balloons and whatnot down there, though, so plenty of rotation options, but definitely a good thing for Supernova, who have the ring console to help guide them.
A team who is sitting in 6th place with 34 points, and I talked about that clutter that's there in the overall standings as the crowd getting excited. I like the energy, even through these pauses, just making sure everybody is veering to go, giving the support to the players that they are most excited to see to succeed out here. And with the teams that will be having to approach from that north side genome, you mentioned, I mean, I don't know. Now I'm a little scared. I can't even finish my thought out here. The way he's just staring me down through the camera. Hold on, just blink a little bit. Those jitters out here. But I was gonna say, those teams rotating from that north side, finding themselves in that congestion coming in from those northern chokes, seeing where that zone is pulling. And again, I don't think you were able to see it, but it is going to be pulling towards that northern lava siphon side.
And speaking of other teams up the north and Valkyrie, Vicky, we've got 3 in this lobby. Supernova's playing it, Ninjas in Pajamas are playing it, and so is VK Gaming. So Ninjas, who have been landing towards and, you know, prioritizing in the draft some of the northern POIs in World's Edge, will take Skyhook East. It's going to be tough for them to get the ring console. They may have to wait for Team Burger to get out of there before they can get that info. And, you know, last time I think we saw them playing the low bar because they were the ones, I believe, who were landing Survey Camp, and then scooting someone over to just nick the gold bag from the loot vault before coming back to their team. So interesting that they've changed things up, said, hey, we are in elimination bracket, maybe now is the time to be a little bit brave and try something else, and they've gone for the Valkyrie. Interesting to see if that's a trend that continues on in the tournament, and if we have more teams picking that up towards the end. Because, I mean, the way I saw things play out yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Catalyst going on in the tournament. And it does fascinate me that we have a single Catalyst pick in this lobby. There is so much Rampart that I feel like the value of Catalyst goes up even more. Like, if you're the only one who has Catalyst, it's the same as Caustic pick, right? The other Catalyst can peek into your bubble and she's not going to take damage from the piercing spikes. Just the way you don't take, you know, damage from opposing Nox gas. And so the value goes up the less of them there are in the lobby. So ALGS and Hungry currently sitting at #1 in the lobby, by the way. I don't know if that tells us anything, but Cat is definitely very viable in this meta.
It's the trade-off, too, for what you want to achieve and how comfortable you are. ALGS and Hungry already know that they are making it into that next elimination bracket. They know that they have some room to work into something that they may want to try out here, too. But it's also the fact that we've been able to see other teams take advantage of the Catalyst if they feel more comfortable going for the Cat on other maps.
Another little fun little stat I saw, someone to a great little piece of investigation on Reddit last night was talking about the inputs and how they're going at this LAN, the rollers and the keyboard and mouse players. And it was fascinating for a couple of reasons. Obviously, been a lot of discussion about this along Apex's long history. And often controller has been seen as, you know, the superior input at the top level, right? And it's interesting to see that it's the most even spread we've seen of, say, damage output, Nox kills that we've ever seen. And there could be a couple of reasons for this, right? One, potentially it's the meta and the weapon meta that we're in right now. Shotguns definitely do lend themselves a little bit more to keyboard and mouse than controller. And even at long distances, snipers pretty good, right? So having the charge rifles and whatnot in here is also a boon for them. The other reason, of course, could be that we did have the aim assist nerf recently, right? It went down from 0.4 to 0.3, and looking at these stats, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we've kind of hit that Goldilocks zone now, where it really is, you know, players don't have to you know, drop your mouse and keyboard players and say, "Oh, sorry, I'm only looking for controller teammates." I really think we've hit a nice balance coming into this LAN.
It's crazy stats when you know that the majority of the players on the stage right now are rocking the controller, and then yet it's so even. And like you said, we usually see this case when the weapon meta is between the shotguns and the snipers together. That really helps out with the fact that when you're fighting a lot of these close range fights with the shotgun, imagine how many controller players we've seen go get knocked from behind by another player before they're able to even react and turn around.
Yeah. And they wish they had the 180 tap strafe options that keyboard and mouse do have. Well, from the vision we just had there, it does look like it's Wei from Team Burger who might be having some issues. Admin's getting stuck in to try and make sure he's playing the game in the way that everyone else is able to go forward. Not sure exactly what the issue is. We'll give you an update if we hear it, but meantime.
He brought his whole laptop. You know what? I appreciate the dedication. He says buff Horizon. All right.
Look at all his Nessie hats as well.
I want a bucket hat. They're fantastic. I love the merch that are here, but they sell out within an instant. Like, you have to actually get here so early to make sure that you're able to cop one of these awesome hoodies.
Yanya dropped knocked. That's a bit harsh. Personally, if I was making that sign, I would have not put dropped in the middle to make it sound like they were getting rid of one of their team.
Oh, no.
Just saying.
A little deceiving, but I can't believe. I can, but also it's just incredible to see how big this arena is and how full it is on Friday. Thank you guys again for your patience.
Apparently they play baseball in here.
You can.
So
with the way, if you actually take control over the entire arena, you absolutely can. And as we were waiting, again, thank you so much for your patience. The crowd cheers, they go wild, and we are back in the game with an unpause. Game number 6, again, on World's Edge as we continue on and get started. No fighting has started just yet. Everyone had just landed respectfully to see where they're going to be going and where that next zone is going.
Amazing. I thought we were going to have to play a game of baseball ourselves there while we were waiting.
Listen, even though it looks deceiving, and we all know that Genome's incredibly tall, I'm on top of an apple box, and we all know Genome can absolutely outrun me. It's unfair, so that's a losing matchup. But with that rampage, definitely not something that he wants in his arsenal. It's another losing matchup, especially in this current weapon meta, as the fight is commencing over on that north side by server camp. It's going to be GHS on the outskirts of the building. Okay,
trying to lock them in here, and Sheila starts ringing out as they cannot dash away. Arufa jumping in through the bubble now. Mastiff comes out. This is looking good for GHS Professional.
Oh man, he was actually looking forward. It's fine. The rest of his team is here to clean up. GHS, get the fight, get the knocks, more KP to their name, and they take care of Shadow.
That's a great couple of KP to start off with. I mean, GHS Professional, damn if they are not showing up today. They're nowhere near the ring, so look, they don't really have to worry about their rotation getting delayed here. They would definitely rather have the KP, and with Ninjas on the prowl, perhaps there's another few in their future.
So many teams already making their way towards Lava Siphon as we get the overhead of that zone. Meteor also on the move. Oblivion approaching from Big Mod side. There is that ring console that we had mentioned earlier on too. From that Big Mod rotate, we had noted that Oblivion coming out from Stacks right behind Disguise. FaZe already finding themselves in that position over to that northern building by Lava Siphon. Taking some damage though from the teams from afar as Oblivion trying to back away while taking advantage of getting that knock initially onto player K. Disguise now forcing this out as a solo, just to Rampart alive from this team. Not a great start for Disguise as they're currently sitting in number 9th.
A team that's been at the tippity top of LAN. You would expect Disguise to have the chops to make it through here. But as you say, certainly not guaranteed at this point, sitting right on that cusp, and with only one member left alive now in match 6. Supernova certainly outperforming expectations here. Most of their points, of course, coming from that dub they had on E-District. Dreamfire, another team that we really were expecting to do so well. I mean, I Hate the World just came out of nowhere in that land. For I think a lot of the teams, a lot of the audience who hadn't seen him play apart from in the APAC South Pro League before.
Nice little quick 42 though off that nade. Another nade they send out while desperately trying to take this fight. And I say desperately because they're sitting in 16th with only 20 points. They want to dominate Supernova. On the other side, they feel like they could completely come out on top. And not only that, it's an isolated fight too, right? There's no other teams on the southern side. There's no teams currently in a position that could also gatekeep them unless the squad just completely goes out of their way to maybe go for a ring console there. But Dreamfire wanted to make sure they can move forward, but Stallion's in some trouble with only Scurry alive.
Yeah, this position will be a lot more important in the end game here. But let's go back down to that fight at launch site. 3MZ does find the backside here. Some massive shots hit. And it's the IGL who makes the difference for Dreamfire.
Or the crowd, Dreamfire, get the KP again. Desperate times call for desperate measures. You have 3 more games to go, and you still have not been able to find yourself within that top 10. Supernova currently out now as they were sitting in that 6th place spot.
Envy have rotated over to Tree, trying to just grab some extra Evo hards over there. Would they have heard any of those shots? Not sure if that's within distance, within earshot or not, but if they have, there's a potential for them to rock up to the southern side of Lava Siphon and maybe try and gatekeep Dreamfire from there. It looks like they might be hitting the ring console at Tree. Anyway, VKG, you can see they've just hit the survey beacon to ping some spots. Sometimes you don't even need the ring console, right? You hit the survey beacon and you can infer where the zone's going from where all those other teams are playing.
Yeah, when you're running the Valkyrie, you kind of have no choice at that point. It's not like you have the Rampart so that way you could get that ring console, you get the information instead where kind of everybody is situated. But it works the same where you know where everybody else is calling that zone, and you try to bank it off of that on your rotate. And then if you have that level 3 perk that Valkyrie has now, you get to see where everybody is once you come down from that skyward dive before making a decision on where you want to find yourself.
Yeah, it's actually pulled. Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? It's kind of central on the Lava Siphon there. The fact that it's pulling, it doesn't have the full North Village encapsulated makes me think it's actually going to finish somewhere around the Crane to the north of Lava Siphon, but not north of the bridge. This means spots like the command center of Lava Siphon is still completely unoccupied. That'd be great for someone like VKG to take a Valk ult into.
Scary if that circle ends up pulling away from there too. The bombardment, though, looking at the fight that's happening on the outskirts of Big Mod, is VKG versus GHS now through that choke that would lead you into Geyser. Trying to take this fight. GHS is playing so aggressive right now, trying to deny the opportunity for more of these teams to perhaps get the points that they may need. Chasing right behind VKG, who are now going outside of zone, maybe going to try to take that tower.
Well, now that they're up to 46 points, they can play without pressure. They can really just play with confidence and send it at any team that they feel like they should. Disguised and Ninjas in Pajamas fighting over near Ghost Town here. The same can't be said for them. This fight is crucial.
See Ninjas sitting in that 10th place cusp. Huge cracks though from Nasky. A lot of pressure on this player, but Zane gets so low. Nasky gets the first initial knock though. They trade it off as Zane gets knocked too. Coming up from the bottom side, Nasky drops down trying to find that last player.
Just gonna work his way through the knockdown shield here as Arctic has already legged it very far away. They get 2 out of the 3 kills. And here's more of those KP that we were talking about being delivered into the lobby. I'll apologize at the end if they're the ones who win the game, but you know, there's a 19 out of 20 chance.
More people coming in, right? I mean, it's also the amount of players that we see getting respawned, and once you get that mobile respawn beacon there, and it comes on a lot faster when it comes to respawning your teammates.
Yeah.
Really adds into the amount of KP that these teams can clean up with in these lobbies. Envy, a team that a lot of people saw success when it comes to scrims, so you can't rely too heavily on scrim books for reasons like this. Kind of flipping their success on some maps that They had found that success, but weren't able to really get it this time around.
It's one of the most surprising elimination brackets we've seen at LAN ever, I think. We were talking in the green room, like almost everybody's picks on the talent room have not been doing that well. I don't know if anyone picked Disguise, but you know, there they go again. And Ninjas in pajamas have not seen a lot of moments to give Nasky the confidence to get out of his seat yet this LAN.
That's the thing. Nasky
That's his
has
signature move.
Literally, but that's what highlights the type of mood that Nasky's in, and he's one of those players that we've seen in the past where when he's feeling confident, it's a very scary player. It's a different player than what we've had to see within the last few days. They were able to get that KP. They needed it. That has pushed them up to 9th. They still need more comfort as they're going to move into that next zone, flying in from that northern choke and looking at the other squads that are still playing from outside the zone and now inching forward into the edge.
Evac does get them into the zone. Let's see if I was right. Will it go, start pulling a little bit further south, or perhaps even, you know, does it go closer to Big Maud around the highway where Oblivion, GHS Professional are sitting? I mean, with how well they've been playing, wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Okay, it's kind of middle. I don't know. I don't know if we can give a pass or a fail mark there. It is somewhat around the crane, but yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised if it finishes above the ditch in the middle.
But that middle console area, rather that northern side of Lava Siphon that you had mentioned, is still in the edge of that next zone and still available for the squads to find their space there.
All right, let's have a listen in with VK Gaming, who look like they're waiting to take a Valkyl into zone.
别漏，前面应该不知道我们走这了，在这蹲着呢。别漏给前面，前面要去卡，要去上这个山了。你可以看一眼，他蓝车有加人吗？掉。没有，我刚刚看他们往那边走了。那我们可以控蓝车吗？往蓝车控。哎，有。我们10秒的时候按吧，因为我们这边就这边能飞了。
没位置的话，就这个拐角，好吧？
好，桥底也可以，其实。
桥底，如果桥底没人就桥底呗。我是说如果。
5秒按吧。
16对，16对。
7秒按，7秒。按吧，得蓄力的，不想吃毒，兄弟。
看一下。
好，
分开。
我上开了。盘一下。桥底没人。
我想先落这桥下好没有人，对着墙没有人，来桥下。
好。
给到。
Ooh, surviving with a sliver of health, finding a landing spot from the Valkyl, something that we were expecting, Genome, and playing now off the low ground of the bridge.
Yeah, we were saying, this ditch in the middle between Siphon and North Siphon could be where the game ends, and if so, BKG may have just slotted their way into a winning position. That said, they're going to take a lot of fire from above. You know, is there a spot where they can Valkyl out of that ditch and maybe take the higher ground? Look, it'll be pretty tough. I think they are probably better off taking their chances down below. But either way, timed that perfectly.
Oh, the G7 shots, though, from Rufa from the high ground has now allowed GHS to slide down to get even more KP. Meteor, the victims on the other side. And while they did drop down from the high ground, Oblivion may be looking to see if they can get involved, but a little late here as GHS finished that fight just as quickly as it started.
Feels nice when you get that red armor upgrade off the squad wipe. JHS Professional just feel like they're playing for the home crowd here, you know? Rough day 1 and 2, and they say, no, we will not let our fans here in Japan go home without seeing our best. And the best is absolutely what they're getting. Now they get a chance to prove it all again tomorrow.
Let's not forget, after the first 2 days, GHS was sitting in 39th place overall. That's why they're sitting here in the elimination bracket. Currently, they're trying to farm this lobby. KP that they've been able to achieve, sitting in 2nd place with 50 points in total.
I mean, on the flip side, if we're thinking about teams who are now at risk of not being able to make it to that, you know, 40-ish cutoff, Stallions and Meteor, 20 and 19, are both out already in this game, sitting at 3 and 7 points with 2 and a bit games, but only 2 games for them left to go. This is going to be incredibly hard for them to make it up that hill.
Listen, my pick'ems are in shambles, but it's fine. We go next here as Dreamfire now slide down, trying to see with the team that were above them. That was Orgless and Hungry. And while they do move forward, there's 3 other teams in the building right to their right, north of Lava Siphon. GHS now look to take another fight. Trying to back away though without trying to overextend, but the Newcastle wall just slowing him down slightly. That actually cost him as he gets knocked. The Newcastle wall sent from the other side, now allowing them to try to get this res. Having to hide up right behind the rampart barrier, though, as GHS were able to at least get that res.
Tider taking no chances there. He's resing behind the wall and the amped cover just because the shield are ringing out in front of him. Could have removed that cover at any moment. Looks like the team coming up on their back, though, dives to the zone and says, hey, guys, have some loot.
You know, they're a little lucky playing on the edge of zone there because now they just get the shield swap like for free as well. So Oblivion, they were also getting pressured out, but the teams were shooting at them from the edge to that north side before they had to move in too, because we know that BKG are on the low ground. Dragons, I believe, is on the high ground of that bridge.
Imagine just turning around and be like, oh that loot box wasn't there before.
For free? I mean, we'll take it. Dreamfire now in some trouble, playing inside the Gibby Dome as the Orgless and Hungry try to fully extend it after leaving them low originally. Nice cracks here. PK shots hitting. Dreamfire get eliminated eventually. The Sheila, he was able to slide and jump into the truck right on time, but a little delayed as Henchman is going to be able to get that res.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Orgless and Hungry really struggling to make it into end games, and they haven't done that so far, but this one has been a little too tough for them. Team Burger sitting in 14th position. Actually, I like their spot. They're on the other side of the crane, but hopefully they can move around that and play around the fence.
With a circle pulling north, and now everybody's seeing where that next zone is pulling, the teams that were hanging out in that northern Lava Siphon side are going to have to eventually now funnel to the north. LG have already made their move, as you can see right here, situating themselves by the crates, putting down the Newcastle walls. Great spot to hang out in, but you're in the line of sight of everybody in this lobby.
Zero Tenacity. They've picked up another good spot in the zone, and they'll just be utilizing that Sheila to its fullest from inside the house. Source X and Y, they've got the house on the opposite side, and hopefully we'll be able to do the same.
The Grand Slam here from Burger.